Hi friends and welcome to the channel. My name is Ryan Abair and this is where I share my insights. And today I'm talking about the ridiculous world of symbols. And I want to talk to you about living off the page, off book, without a plan, and in ways that would seem unrealistic to conventional thinking. Stick around. I don't know if I ever realized how much being a musician has taught me about living. It's just coming to me. I spent 30 years as a professional musician in working with choirs. And I brought with me a visual aid. This is a piece of music by Mozart called the Ave Verum. And some of you may be able to read this. Some of you, it looks like gobbledygook. And this is merely a map in much the same way as a recipe for a cake is not a cake, or a menu is not a dinner. This is not the music. Can you imagine how ridiculous it would be to simply live in a world where we describe a cake? 4 cups of flour, 1 egg, a cup of sugar, blah, 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 and a stick of butter. This is how ChatGPT works. It knows everything about a cake, how to make a cake, all the various versions of cake. But ChatGPT cannot relate to biting into, salivating, tasting the sweetness, really experiencing the sensation of putting a moist, dissolving, spongy material into its mouth. Although ChatGPT could use more succulent language than me. It could write a poem about how wonderful a cake is, but ChatGPT will never be able to relate to the experience. In the same way that ChatGPT could never relate to having an orgasm or to experiencing pain. And if you ever work with ChatGPT, you can begin to sense the platitude. It doesn't know what it's talking about. It is reflecting back a world of symbols. That's it. ChatGPT is the world's foremost expert in symbolism. ChatGPT could tell you everything here, but it has never, through its own ears, experienced the sublimity of the Mozart Ave Verum. Nor would ChatGPT know what to do with the interpretation of this. And although you could ask ChatGPT, how do you interpret music? And I'm sure it would reflect back to you all the symbols. It is so. Artificial intelligence is merely a world of symbols. It does not know what it would be like to be quiet and to listen to music. You could play music to ChatGPT, but it would not be able to capture the emotive feelings and anticipations and stirrings inside of its soul. Now, when I used to conduct choirs, they would, you're conducting and you're trying to get them to sing with abandon. Like, okay, now you know the music, but they would they would continue to insist that the music is this. Now we know the music is not this. Where's the music? No, you don't point to it. The music is in the air as it's happening. And as soon as you notice it arise, it goes down the toilet. So the purpose of music is to simply just listen to it and allow it to stir you. Now, many of you may believe that thoughts create reality. And I argue, and I've said this before, that reality is that which thoughts are begotten from. Thoughts are an activity in reality. But once they become form, they seem to have no power. The real power is in where a thought comes from as it occurs. Reality is uncreated. That's what I think. Reality is completely unchangeable. Reality is unnoticeable. And reality disappears before you even get a glimpse of it. So it's happening so quickly that the individual, me, I'm noticing it so slowly that in order for me to give you in order for me to feel like I have a sense of control, I must tell a story about it. I've got to create a map about it, but it's in retrospect. Real reality can't be caught like that in the same way as you can't catch music as it's going in and out of you. It's like you just have to be very, very quiet and let the music pass through. And it stirs and you respond to it. And if you're completely into it, if it's got a nice beat, your body starts moving. And that's what real living is. It is simply just, that song, everybody dance now, boom, dun, 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 let your body move. And then Vogue, let your body move to the music, come on, Vogue. Vogue means the leading edge. A Vogue is a fashionable trend, like something that leads, right? So then your body starts moving to this thing that leads, and you're responding to it as it's happening. And this is just a map. This is just sort of a skeleton of what music is. But then once you kind of know, what pitch and kind of how fast it goes, you add your own interpretation to it. You respond to it as you are doing it. So if I can just sort of help you, for those of you who don't know what conducting is this, you wave your arms and the ensemble. So you're responding to the playing as it's happening. You're emoting, and it's a co-creative thing in this spontaneous abandonment. So it's got this wiggly feel to it, like you're dancing and there's no leading. You're just being. Everything sort of syncs up, and it's this wonderful thing where you let your body move to the music, and the musicians are just moving in flow, and they're outside of the page. It all just kind of, it's called synchronicity. Now, I am describing the words that I use to describe that experience. You have experienced that, what I call the luxurious decadence of reality. Like if you go to a ballet or a play or a symphony, if you really get into it and you start digging it, it sweeps you into it, and the experience, just, you become awash in the experience, and there's no individual experiencing anything. That's a vanishing act. You completely go. Now, choirs who have tried to, your amateur average choir, they are locked into this. This is the roadmap. They don't want to go to the territory. They don't want to go where this is telling them to go, which is off the page, into the moment. Aligning with reality as it is. In much the same way as you lose yourself in the music or let your body move to the music. And so we use narration to describe something that is laughable when put into descriptive form. Like if you just sit in nature and you try to describe that, trees and wind and the sensation of being in the moment, you're at a loss for words. One of my favorite shows is The Repair Shop, and when they experience their heirloom being restored, there's always something, I'm just at a loss for words. When you're at a loss for words, you're in the right place. And no place is being at a loss for words more appropriate than in church. It's church. They control the story of God, which always has something to do with a man in the sky who does magical favors for his minions. And they say, I believe in God. That's one of the creedal statements is, I believe in God, which has an emptiness to it that doesn't really mean anything to anybody. They stand up and sit down at the right time. They say, oh, praise God, praise God. And when bad things happen, oh, that's a mysterious force. And the more stories we weave around reality, the more our life becomes just a symbol. But I want you to go back to what it's like to taste a cake. I can't put that into words. What it's like to have your own child. I can't put that into words. What it's like to experience death of a loved one. Can't put that into words. And if I did, I would be trying to control it. You see? ChatGPT can tell you all about death. Can tell you everything about losing a loved one and how to deal with grief and all that. But you can't believe it because ChatGPT has never experienced that. And you'll sense that emptiness in artificial intelligence. Because it's never been conscious. It's never had a conscious experience. And that is going on now. The music, let your body move to the music. The music of now is happening. And we are talking about it, trying to control it. And so you have this symbolic life called My Life, which is nothing but a map of something you haven't experienced yet. Wordlessness. Luxuriating in a smaller fragment of time called eternity. Believe it or not, the smallest fragment of time called eternity. And we haven't moved from the symbols to the reality. This cannot create music. I can. I know how to interpret this. I need 4 singers and a string quartet, and I could do this. I could probably just do it myself. I can go on my organ in there and start playing this for you and sing the melody line or any of the other lines. I can make a version of this. But each time I recreate it, it's going to sound a little bit different. So that's why reality is fresh, luxurious, ever surprising, seemingly wiggly, but it is unchangeable. And it's neat. It's neat when you move from the world of concept to acceptance of reality. And it begins with surrendering and accepting and relinquishing control of narrating what this is, a failure, a success. My favorite is purpose. If you're one of these people that's searching for your purpose, you were looking for music on a page. And I can talk about that some more. But I think I'm done for the day, and I hope that you have enjoyed my insights today into the ridiculous world of symbols. And I have just given you 15 minutes of symbols, hopefully pointing your attention to what's real. My name is Ryan Hebert. Please check out my blog if you have a moment. It's called mymorningmotivator.com. Thank you.